Why did German soldiers become prisoners of war voluntarily during World War II? Stick around, because not only will we dive deep into this, but we're uncovering 18 other less-known facts about German soldiers that will absolutely shock your world. Why German soldiers feared the Churchill Crocodile Tanks during World War II. During World War II, German soldiers faced numerous threats on the battlefield. One such threat that often sent shivers down their spines was the Churchill Crocodile Tank, a British invention that changed the dynamic of ground warfare. Picture this: a massive, armored tank rolling forcefully across the terrain, equipped with a flamethrower capable of shooting a stream of fire up to 120 meters. For German infantry, encountering one of these metal beasts could mean a fiery end, quite literally. These tanks, with their ability to project lethal, engulfing flames, posed a psychological as well as a physical threat, inspiring fear and altering tactics on the ground. German soldiers had to rethink strategies, especially when it came to confronting fortified positions or engaging in close-quarters battles, as these tanks could turn bunkers, trenches, and defensive structures into death traps with a single fiery blast. Why German soldiers utilized methamphetamines. During World War II, German soldiers were often given a drug known as Pervitin. A brand name for methamphetamine was widely distributed among the troops to keep them awake, alert, and energized for extended periods. Soldiers often marched for days without sleep, empowered by the effects of these stimulant drugs. While it initially seemed like a miracle solution to fatigue, allowing soldiers to march and fight for incredibly long durations, Pervitin had a dark side. The extended use led to exhaustion, hallucinations, and often severe health consequences among the soldiers, impacting their physical and mental states significantly. Troops would often record experiences of endless wakefulness, followed by crashes of debilitating fatigue. This controversial use of drugs to enhance military performance shows a desperate and ethically murky side of wartime strategies, revealing the lengths armies might go to secure victory. Why German soldiers often used motorcycles during World War II. When we think of World War II, it's often tanks and infantry that capture our imagination. But did you know that motorcycles were crucial to the German army's activities, earning them a heroic status on the battlefield? These two-wheeled machines, often overshadowed by larger war vehicles, played a pivotal role in ensuring communication, transporting soldiers, and even acting as nimble recon units. Imagine this: a messenger riding through the perilous terrains, evading enemy fire, just to deliver vital information to the frontline units. The German military employed a variety of motorcycle models, adapting them to meet the specific needs of different terrains and situations. From fast-paced dispatch riders to mounted machine gun units, these bikes offered speed and agility, enabling rapid response to evolving battlefield conditions. Why German soldiers developed the Faustpatrone during World War II. In the thick of World War II, German soldiers got a new tool: the Faustpatrone. Imagine a small, easy-to-use weapon, kind of like a giant firecracker you could hold in your hands. This was no ordinary weapon, though. Its purpose: to destroy tanks. The Faustpatrone was an early version of what we now call a recoilless rifle. It was a single-shot, disposable anti-tank weapon and was designed to be user-friendly so soldiers could learn how to use it quickly. They would point it at a tank, fire it, and the Faustpatrone would zoom toward the target, and boom! The tank was in trouble. It became a real headache for Allied tank crews because it allowed German infantry to target them effectively, even without big guns. It was small, but it packed a punch, proving that sometimes size isn't everything. Why German soldiers respected the Gurkha Warriors during World War II. During World War II, German soldiers encountered various foes, but the Gurkha Warriors from Nepal uniquely struck both respect and fear into their hearts. Known for their fierce combat skills and unyielding bravery, the Gurkhas wielded the distinct curved kukri knives with unparalleled mastery. Even amidst the brutal chaos of warfare, German soldiers recognized and often dreaded the formidable might of these warriors on the battlefield. Engagements with the Gurkhas were intense and demanding. Their reputation for never backing down in the face of danger was well acknowledged by friend and foe alike. Many German soldiers shared stories of the Gurkhas' combat prowess, reflecting both admiration and fear, often highlighting the skillful use of their signature weapon in close combat. This intricate dynamic unfolded amidst the broader conflict, revealing moments where mutual respect pierced through the veil of wartime. Why German soldiers used dogs on the front lines during World War II? During World War II, dogs weren't just man's best friend. They were soldiers, playing vital roles on and off the battlefield for German forces. Known for their loyalty and keen senses, dogs were employed in various capacities, from sentry duties, laying communication cables, to even saving lives as medic dogs. Canines detected enemy soldiers, alerting their handlers and providing crucial seconds to prepare for engagement. Particularly, messenger dogs were heroes, often risking their lives traversing dangerous territories to deliver crucial information when technology failed. Meanwhile, anti-tank dogs, trained to carry explosives towards enemy tanks, were a desperate and tragic strategy to disable enemy vehicles. German soldiers formed tight bonds with their four-legged comrades, and countless stories of bravery, sacrifice, and companionship emerged from these interspecies partnerships. Why German soldiers often utilized foreign equipment during World War II? Imagine being a German soldier during World War II and finding a tank, but not just any tank, an enemy tank. In the chaos of war, German soldiers often stumbled upon abandoned equipment left by opposing forces. Tanks, guns, and even vehicles from the Allied powers found a new lease of life in the hands of their foes. This wasn't just by chance. It was a clever tactic employed by the German military. Why waste valuable resources making new equipment when you could just use what your enemies left behind? Soldiers were trained to operate these gifts, turning the tables on the original owners. This strategy not only maximized available resources, but also provided unique insights into enemy technology and tactics. This surprising and practical approach showcases the unpredictability and resourcefulness found on the World War II battlefield. Why German soldiers feared to fight in the Ardennes Forest during World War II? Welcome to the Ardennes, a key battleground during World War II. German soldiers, shivering and tense, navigated through the thick woods, strategically pivotal in several operations, notably the Battle of the Bulge. Underneath the looming trees, soldiers, camouflaged with nature, held their breaths amidst the chilling winds, eyes constantly scanning for enemy movement. The Ardennes was not just a physical challenge, with its rough, unforgiving terrain, but also a psychological one. Fear lurked in its dark corners, as the thick foliage could easily conceal enemy forces, making ambushes a constant threat. German and Allied soldiers alike grappled with the forest's unpredictable elements, turning every rustle of leaves into a potential alarm. For the Germans, this dense, dark forest served as a backdrop for planning surprise attacks, but also hid dangers that kept every soldier perpetually on edge, mingling respect and dread for the silent, watching trees. Why German soldiers created the Goliath tracked mine during World War II? Imagine a tiny tank zipping through the battlefield, not carrying soldiers or weapons, but packed with explosives, ready to blast away obstacles and enemies. That's precisely what the Goliath tracked mines were during World War II. German engineers came up with this remote-controlled miniature tank to transport a hefty load of explosives straight to their target, such as tanks, fortifications, or groups of soldiers. Soldiers would guide the Goliath from a safe distance using a joystick control, directing it towards the objective, and then detonating its deadly cargo. This little tank, while innovative, had its issues, such as being prone to malfunction and vulnerable to anti-tank weapons. Nonetheless, the Goliath mines brought a new tactical angle to warfare, merging technology and demolition in a unique, albeit deadly manner. Why German soldiers often took risks to secure art during World War II? During the tumultuous times of World War II, German soldiers found themselves entwined in a complex web of preserving, looting, and sometimes inadvertently destroying art. Embarked upon various territories, they encountered myriad cultures and their corresponding artistic treasures. But why would soldiers, engulfed in the brutality of war, even pay heed to art? For some, it was about safeguarding a piece of serene beauty amidst chaos, a momentary escape from the horrors of conflict. For others, art became a tool, utilized either for propaganda by the Nazi regime or as financial assets through illegal sales. Unveiling stories of iconic artworks, like the infamous pilfering of the Amber Room, or instances where soldiers went out of their way to protect priceless artifacts, reveals a multifaceted narrative Why German soldiers preferred certain sidearms. During World War II, German soldiers were armed with a variety of weapons, including the notable Luger P-08 and Walther P-38 sidearms. The sidearm was crucial for close-quarters combat and a backup when the primary weapon failed. The Luger P-08, with its distinct toggle lock action, became a symbol of German military might, widely recognized and often sought as a war trophy by Allied soldiers. In contrast, the Walther P-38, renowned for its reliability and advanced design, was a favorite among many German officers. Soldiers often relied on their sidearms in tight situations, where a quick, precise shot could mean the difference between life and death. These weapons were not only tools of war, but also a source of security and last resort defense in the brutal and unpredictable scenarios on the front lines. Why German soldiers trusted the MG-42. This machine gun earned its frightening reputation during World War II for good reason. The German soldiers loved it, and Allies feared it. But why? Firstly, this rapid-fire weapon could shoot an astounding 1,200 rounds per minute. Imagine the sheer power and force it brought to the battlefield. Soldiers often remarked about its distinctive and terrifying sound, likened to ripping cloth. It wasn't just fast, but also super reliable. Whether in the icy Russian winters or the dusty African deserts, the MG-42 stood resilient. Its smart, innovative design made it easy to produce and thus widely available to German troops. The soldiers operating it were rigorously trained, ensuring it was used effectively in combat, often stationed at strategic points to mow down approaching enemy troops. Even post-war, the MG-42's design influenced many subsequent machine guns, leaving a lasting legacy in military weapon design. Fascinating, isn't it? Why German soldiers often became prisoners of war. During the tumultuous times of World War II, some German soldiers found themselves at a crossroads, leading them to make a surprising decision: voluntary surrender. The reasons for this unusual choice varied widely, from a loss of morale, believing in an inevitable defeat, to simply wanting to escape the horrors of war. The fields of Europe sometimes witnessed German troops laying down their arms, opting to become prisoners of war rather than continue the conflict. Once captured, they were transported to POW camps, often in the US or UK, where they encountered a world strikingly different from the front lines. Contrary to expectation, numerous German POWs experienced decent treatment, sometimes even working in local communities or farms. Why German soldiers decorated their helmets with camouflage during World War II. In the chaotic and brutal environments of World War II, German soldiers understood that staying unseen could often mean staying alive. Helmets, a vital part of their uniform, were not just for protection, they also served as a canvas for adaptive camouflage. Soldiers would often utilize whatever materials were at hand in the environment, such as leaves, mud, cloth, or netting, to break up the recognizable shape of their helmets and blend seamlessly into their surroundings. These DIY camouflaging techniques were especially crucial in scenarios where soldiers were positioned as snipers, scouts, or in ambushes, providing them with an additional layer of invisibility against the prying eyes of the enemy. Through the lens of these improvised camouflage practices, we glimpse the resourcefulness and survival instincts of soldiers, forced to innovate and adapt amidst the unpredictable and harsh conditions of the battlefield. Why German soldiers instituted the fortress cities concept during World War II. During the tumultuous days of World War II, German military strategists adopted a peculiar tactic known as the fortress cities strategy. Essentially, certain cities were designated as fortresses, or Festungen, intended to be defended at all costs, even amidst the advancing Allied forces. German soldiers stationed in these cities faced not only the physical adversaries, but also a battle of morale and sustenance. Cut off from supply lines, they grappled with dwindling resources while stubbornly defending the urban strongholds. These fortified cities, including places like Breslau and Stalingrad, witnessed some of the most fierce, prolonged, and devastating conflicts of the war. Soldiers endured harsh conditions, exhibited unparalleled resolve, and often fought to the bitter end. This strategy, while showcasing exemplary courage of the soldiers, also unveiled the desperation and extreme measures of the German High Command in the dwindling days of World War II. Why German soldiers were ordered to fight to the last man during World War II. During World War II, German soldiers often faced daunting situations, fighting against increasingly unfavorable odds as the Allies advanced from all fronts. Under Adolf Hitler's fierce dictatorship, a compelling and unwavering directive echoed across the German army. No surrender. Orders to fight to the last man, even in seemingly hopeless circumstances, were imposed relentlessly upon the soldiers. This ruthlessly unyielding stance emanated from a fervent belief in the Nazi ideology and a desperate hope to salvage the crumbling German Reich. German soldiers, whether stationed on the freezing Eastern Front or in the bombed cities of Germany, adhered to these stern commands with a potent mixture of fear, discipline, and indoctrinated loyalty. Stories of entire units fighting until their last breath, despite facing certain defeat, portray a chilling snapshot of the devastating psychological and physical impacts that these no-surrender orders exacted upon countless individuals, underscoring a dark and relentless chapter of World War II. Why German soldiers admired Irwin Raml. German soldiers held Irwin Raml, the Desert Fox, in high regard during World War II, especially for his campaigns in North Africa. Known for his strategic prowess and honorable combat ethics, Raml commanded the Afrika Korps, battling the British-led Allied forces across the deserts of North Africa. The soldiers admired his ability to think quickly, create clever battle strategies, and respect both his own men and his enemies. Raml was not just a leader, but a soldier's general, often sharing the same harsh conditions as his men, earning their deep respect. Interestingly, Raml was involved in a plot to assassinate Hitler, and upon its failure, chose to end his own life to protect his family. Even after his death, the soldiers kept a genuine admiration for him, showcasing the profound impact of his leadership and personality on the German military. Why German soldiers were obsessed with the Knight's Cross during World War II. World War II was a tough time, but did you know that German soldiers found a special symbol to inspire them? This symbol was the Knight's Cross, a coveted medal that soldiers could earn. Picture a shining iron cross hanging bravely on a soldier's chest. This wasn't just any reward. It was a beacon of hope, courage, and honor amidst the horrors of war. Soldiers who wore it were viewed as heroes, not just by their peers, but also by citizens back home. Earning the Knight's Cross was no small feat. Soldiers had to showcase extreme bravery and achieve significant victories against their enemies. It was not merely a medal, but a narrative, a story of valor that traveled through the ranks, lifting spirits even in the darkest times. Sometimes, even in the grim ambiance of war, stories of Knight's Cross awardees provided that glimmer of inspiration and pride that propelled soldiers to fight another day. Why German soldiers called Allied bombers Terrorfleger. During World War II, German soldiers came up with various nicknames for their enemies, one being Terrorfleger. This term, translating to terror aviators, specifically referred to the Allied bomber crews who would fly overhead, releasing their deadly cargo onto German cities and troops below. But why did this nickname come to be? Well, the bombings carried out by these aviators wreaked havoc and induced terror among German soldiers and civilians alike. It wasn't just the physical damage, but also the psychological impact that was profound. The relentless bombings, often occurring at night, disrupted sleep and instilled a perpetual fear, a lingering dread of when the next bombs would drop. Soldiers, scrambling amidst the chaos, witnessed the destruction firsthand, making Terrorfleger not just enemy aviators, but harbingers of fear and destruction. This nickname was not merely a label, but embodied the anxiety and dread experienced by those on the receiving end of these airborne onslaughts. This title, while simple, encapsulated a deeply rooted fear that permeated throughout the German ranks, highlighting a psychological warfare that complemented the physical battles occurring on the ground.